Hello, comrades. Today, I want to talk about the importance of consistent and adequate hydration. Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. We need water to survive, so do most other living things on the planet. But I just wanted to give you some background on why it is important for us humans specifically. Let's start with some background information. Our bodies are about 55 to 60% water. Our cells all have water inside and around them. We are essentially just big old hydro flasks, if you think about it. Different cells throughout the body will contain different amounts of water. For instance, bone contains about 22% water. Fat contains about 25% water. Muscle and brain tissue contains about 75% water. Blood contains about 83% water. And your eyeballs, they contain about 95% water. Your eyes are mostly just water. That would explain why I cry so much. Water is necessary for many functions within the body. For example, it dissolves substances such as protein. It helps to transport nutrients to cells and to transport waste away from cells. It helps us regulate our body temperature. It lubricates joints. And it also provides shock absorption for our eyes and our spinal cord. So, why do we need to drink water? Our bodies regularly lose water through sweat, urine, feces, and even through your breath. This leaves the need to replenish. We must help our bodies to maintain an equilibrium between water input and output. This is called fluid balance. Maintaining a proper fluid balance within your body is essential to not only keep your body working correctly, but also to keep you feeling well. Let's look at a couple possible outcomes of a fluid imbalance within the body. First, dehydration. Dehydration is the result of losing more water than you are taking in. When we are not taking in adequate amounts of water, the balance of fluids to electrolytes in and around the cells can be thrown out of whack. Electrolytes such as sodium and potassium are minerals that when dissolved in water carry an electrical charge. Electrolytes are essential to many functions within the body, much like water. Adverse effects of dehydration can be experienced at even the slightest amount. If you are at a deficit of 0.5% of water, then you can be looking at increased stress on the heart due to lower blood volume. If you have a deficit of 1 to 3% water, then you can be looking at reduced aerobic and muscular endurance. If you're looking at a deficit of 4 to 5% water, you can be experiencing reduced muscle strength, reduced motor skills, cramping, fatigue, and even reduced mental capacity. If you have a deficit of 6% or more, you can be looking at potential consequences of physical exhaustion, heat stroke, coma, and even death. All right, next, let's look at the flip side of this coin, and that would be if you were to be taking in more water than you were putting out. This could put you at risk for hyponatremia, which means low sodium. You can essentially think of this as you have overly diluted the electrolytes within your body. Effects of hyponatremia may include GI discomfort, headache, and even swelling of the hands and the feet. It's important to note that hyponatremia is normally the result of a deeper medical issue, though it is still important that you replace electrolytes if you are losing a lot of sweat. If some of the effects of dehydration sound kind of familiar to you, sound maybe like what happens when you have a hangover, interestingly enough, alcohol can suppress hormones that control thirst and body water regulation. So if you are drinking, it's definitely important that you pay some extra mind to your hydration. Next, let's look at some sex differences when it comes to hydration. Women will retain and release water at different times during their menstrual cycle. For instance, during the luteal phase, the period, no pun intended, between ovulation and when the menstrual cycle begins can put you in a position to retain a lot of water. Men typically have more muscle on their body than women, thus leading them to retain more water. We store glycogen in our muscles, and glycogen is essentially our body's storage method for sugar. And for every gram of glycogen that we store, we will store along with it 3 to 4 grams of water. Conversely, women will typically carry more fat on their body, which does not retain water very well, so they are not going to hold on to that, similarly to that of somebody with more lean body mass. All right, so you may be wondering, how much water do you need as an individual? Well, first, let's look at a couple things. You not only get water through drink, but you also get water through food. Certain foods, such as fresh produce, cooked whole grains, or cooked beans that have been boiled in water, will have a lot higher water content than some other foods, such as fattier foods like nuts or butter. They will have very low water content. A baseline recommendation for water consumption for a healthy adult would be 3 liters or 12 cups of water per day. If your diet consists of many water-rich foods, then you can assume that about 1/3 of that water is going to come from food, so the other 2/3 is going to come from drink. It is important to note that you may need to increase that baseline input if you have a higher activity level, you're exercising with intensity, and you're losing a lot of sweat. If it is hot outside and you're sweating a lot. If you are just a larger person in general, then you're going to need to take in more water than that recommendation. And also, if you are ill with diarrhea or vomiting, then there's going to be an increased need to replace water and also electrolytes. For many people, the biggest challenge that comes with hydration is consistency, and that goes the same for proper dieting and exercise as well. Consistency is key. Here are a few helpful tips that will hopefully put you on the right track to getting consistent with your hydration. Number 1, drink a glass of water every day first thing when you wake up. You just spent about 8 hours in bed sleeping and not taking in any water, so it would be in your best interest to start the day with a big glass, start getting you hydrated. Tip number 2, drink a glass of water with every meal. Number 3, eat those water-rich foods, eat those fresh veggies. Tip number 4 is to carry a water bottle with you when you're out and about. I like to carry this big gallon back here. It's super convenient, so if you ever get thirsty and you don't have a water fountain or a convenience store or anything like that readily available to you, you'll have water on you. You won't need to go thirsty. Tip number 5, drink extra water and replenish electrolytes if you have sweated a lot or if you have been vomiting or had diarrhea. Super important that you replace liquid, especially if you're losing it at a faster rate. And tip number 6, to change it up a little bit and make water a little bit more interesting for you, consider adding some lemon to your water or possibly trying a delicious sparkling water like San Pellegrino or a flavored version of that. All right, comrades, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Help might be easier to get than you think. Again, I really appreciate you watching. Have a good day.